Hello everyone, today is Wednesday, March 24th, 2021. Welcome back to Jacob Talks Politics. In this video, I am of course going to be talking about the 2021 New York City Mayoral Election. Now, on this channel, I have almost entirely talked about national politics, so why is the election to decide the mayor of New York City even important? Well, New York City is the largest city in the United States with over 8 million people. It is often considered to be the cultural, financial, and media capital of the world. While of course the mayor of any city, like New York City, is tasked with carrying out the functioning of that city's local government, the mayor of a city as enormous and as nationally and even globally prominent as New York City makes the mayor of New York City not just a local matter, but one on the nationwide and worldwide levels. The last three mayors of the Big Apple have all become involved in national politics, demonstrating how nationalized the office really is. Rudy Giuliani was mayor of New York City from 1994 to 2001, being dubbed America's mayor due to his response and leadership following the September 11th attacks near the end of his last term. Giuliani came in fifth place in the 2008 Republican presidential primaries and in recent years became a loyal ally and legal representative of former President Donald Trump. The Republican billionaire and businessman Michael Bloomberg succeeded Giuliani as mayor. In 2009, Bloomberg successfully extended the city's term limits law, winning a third term as mayor. He pursued socially liberal and fiscally moderate policies as mayor, switching to an independent in 2007, and a few years later he left the office of mayor in 2013. Bloomberg switched to the Democratic Party. In 2020, Michael Bloomberg made a late entry into the 2020 Democratic presidential primaries, spending nearly $1 billion of his own money to come in fourth place and drop out after Super Tuesday. The current mayor of New York City is Democrat Bill de Blasio, serving as mayor for 2 terms since 2014. He is unable to run again due to term limits. Being a very diverse and densely populated area, New York City leans heavily Democratic, voting for Democratic presidential candidates by deafening margins for decades. This is how each of the 5 boroughs of New York City voted in the 2020 election in this past year, and as you can see, Joe Biden demolished Donald Trump in 4 of the 5 boroughs, with Trump winning the least populous, Staten Island, by just under 15 percentage points. And so because New York City is such a very Democratic city, I will not be talking about the Republican primary for mayor much at all in this video. Right now, I will mention that there are currently 2 major declared candidates for the Republican nomination. They are Curtis Sliwa, who is the founder of the Guardian Angels, and Fernando Mateo, founder of the New York State Federation of Taxi Drivers. On June 22nd of this year, the Democratic and Republican primaries for the 2021 New York City mayoral election will be held, being the first in the city to use ranked choice voting rather than the traditional first-past-the-post method. Now, before I go into the various candidates in the Democratic primary race, if you don't know what ranked choice voting is, I suggest that you go watch my most recent video on it that explains what it is very well in just a few short minutes. Let's finally get to the Democratic candidates. So here they are, 8 of them, and Andrew Yang was the front-runner for the race even before he announced he would run. Just a couple years ago, very few people had ever heard of Yang. He was an entrepreneur and the founder of Venture for America, a nonprofit organization focused on creating jobs in cities struggling to recover from the Great Recession. Yang would go on to run in the Democratic primaries for president in 2020, and although he never exceeded 5% in any national polls and dropped out on the night of the New Hampshire primary in February, Yang's campaign was one that inspired a loyal fan base called Yang Gang and gained attention for his proposal for a universal basic income of $1,000 a month for every U.S. adult called the Freedom Dividend. He is now running in the race for mayor of New York City, one in which he is in a much stronger position to win as of right now. Next up is Eric Adams. Adams served as an officer in the New York City Transit Police and then the NYPD for more than 2 decades, retiring at the rank of captain. He was defeated in 1994 in the Democratic primary for New York's 11th congressional district seat. He was elected to be a state senator for New York's 20th district in 2007 from 2007 to 2013, before becoming the 18th Borough President of Brooklyn, a role in which he has served since 2014. Scott Stringer was a legislative assistant and New York State Assemblyman, or he was a legislative assistant to New York State Assemblyman and now current Congressman Jerry Nadler, beginning in 1983. He was elected to succeed Nadler in 1992, representing the state's 67th district from 1993 to 2005. He became the borough president of Manhattan in 2016, before now serving as the New York City Comptroller since 2014. And if you don't know what a comptroller is, it's the chief financial officer and chief auditor of a city's agencies and their performance and spending. Maya Wiley is a lawyer, professor, and civil rights activist who chaired the New York City Civilian Complaint Review Board from 2016 to 2017. Previously, she served as counsel to current New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio. So I placed all of who I considered to be the lesser of the major candidates on this one page. Sean Donovan, in the top left, served as the Commissioner of New York City Department of Housing, Preservation, and Development under Mayor Bloomberg's administration, the U.S. Secretary of Housing and Urban Development during most of President Barack Obama's administration, and as the Director of the Office of Management and Budget. Catherine Garcia, on the top right, was the former commissioner of the New York City Sanitation Department. On the bottom left, we have Diane Morales, who is a nonprofit executive, and finally, we have Raymond McGuire, who is a former executive at Citigroup. Now, looking at an average of these candidates' performances in some opinion polls, we see that there are clear front runners and clear losers in this race. Andrew Yang averaged 24.3% in the 4 polls that I looked at, well above the second-place candidate. We then have Eric Adams at 16.5%, Scott Stringer at 8.8%, Maya Wiley at 7.8%, and all of the other candidates, Donovan, Garcia, Morales, and McGuire, under 5% each. And here are the actual polls I examined, the most recently taken one being by Emerson College in the top left here. And if I remember, I will put the links for the results of each of these polls in the description so you can see for yourself, because there were a bunch of other questions on here. So with so many candidates in this primary, it is very unlikely that anyone achieves 50% of the vote initially, being it Yang, Adams, or anyone else. We can only wait to see how this race unfolds in the 3 months remaining, and whoever the Democratic nominee is will almost certainly be elected the 110th Mayor of New York City on November 2nd, 2021. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know this is a long one. If you're interested in seeing political content like this, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and share the channel with your friends.